Fox News tells the truth because they hear Chuck Norris is watching. Hi, my name is James, and I'm a grateful recovering addict and alcoholic. This is my live stream on addiction recovery every weeknight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Feel free to join the channel to support the cause. Tonight, what is fact? What is fiction? Especially in the realm of alcoholism. It is said that you can only diagnose yourself with alcoholism. But what if you tell the doctor the truth about your factual symptoms? Well, while you guys trickle in, and I'm going to post my membership join button right here. You know, because the guy's got to eat, and his 2 dogs. Right there in the chat box. Chat box, baby. Yeah, so I'm obsessed with what is an opinion and what is fact in this world. And I'm beginning to find when you dig down deep into the metaphysical and philosophical and theoretical definitions of fact and opinion, none of us really know anything. And that's a fact, Jack. Fox News tells the truth when Chuck Norris is watching. I posted that on Facebook. It now has 273 reactions, and the comments are going crazy. But let's read a couple things about alcoholism, getting the facts straight about alcoholism. And we'll start by reading from the 12 and 12 on step 1. See if you can recognize or ask if you are anything like me. What here is fact and what here is an opinion. Step 1, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. Who cares to admit complete defeat? Practically no one, of course. Every natural instinct cries out against the idea of personal powerlessness. It is truly awful to admit that, glass in hand, we have warped our minds into such an obsession for destructive drinking that only an act of providence can remove it from us. No other kind of bankruptcy is like this one. Alcohol now become the rapacious creditor, bleeds us of all self-sufficiency and all will to resist its demands. Once this stark fact is accepted, our bankruptcy as going human concerns is complete. Once this stark fact is accepted, the fact they're referring to is alcohol now becomes the rapacious creditor, bleeds us of all self-sufficiency and all will to resist its demands. Now, here in a couple sentences, it explains why they called it a fact. But upon entering AA, we soon take quite another view of this absolute humiliation. We perceive that only through utter defeat are we able to take our first steps towards liberation and strength. Our admissions of personal powerlessness finally turn out to be firm bedrock upon which happy and purposeful lives can be built. And here it comes. We know that little good can come to any alcoholic who joins AA unless he has first accepted his devastating weakness and all its consequences. Until he is so humble himself, his sobriety, if any, will be precarious. Of real happiness he will find none at all. Proved beyond doubt by an immense experience, this is one of the facts of AA life. What's up, John Dallas? Well, thank you. Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm in my 8th month sober. And I've been going to AA meetings every day, sometimes 2 a day. I'm growing and expanding. My spirituality is being delivered. More is being revealed on a daily basis. Now I am currently in some kind of phase of respecting others' opinions, but also recognizing and separating fact from opinion. I have begun to explore other modalities, other methods of staying sober. My chosen one is Alcoholics Anonymous. I have stopped preaching it. I've stopped telling people that they need to go to AA. Personally, I believe that, but I don't know if, upon growing and learning again, which is something we do when we stop drinking, I've learned that, I've learned respect for others and respect for myself as well. My opinion is that if the organization that has gotten alcoholics sober since 1935, and there's 2 million people strong living today of recovering alcoholics in Alcoholics Anonymous, that's good enough for me. But I have grown into accepting that I don't know if it's good enough for you. So I am expressing my experience on this channel from here on out, here to thither forward. And it was just read in the big book under step 1, in the 12 and 12 actually, that proven through immense experience, this is an AA fact, regarding to the previous sentence, which was, until he so humbles himself, the alcoholic, his sobriety, if any, will be precarious. Of real happiness he will find none at all. Proved beyond doubt by an immense experience, this is one of the facts of AA life. That matches my own experience, and therefore I call it a known fact. When the book of AA, and this is how I've come to believe in everything that AA says, over the decades, it has matched my experience totally. And that's when I call something a fact. Proven by immense experience. There's some other stuff I'd like to read through, and y'all join me and give me your opinions or your discovered facts or your experience or your Chuck Norris jokes. I've been posting Chuck Norris jokes on here's another thing in my spirituality that I've never done before. I'm living a new life. I'm virtually a new man. Instead of ripping people apart for their opinions on politics, this, that, and the other thing, even though I may view their opinions as ridiculous and see holes all throughout their statement, I instead just resort to a lighthearted Chuck Norris joke. Granted, the one I wrote that goes as follows. Fox News told the truth when they heard Chuck Norris was watching. Although that wasn't too unbiased. I don't watch the news, number one. You want to know why I don't watch the news? Because I believe spending my time on anything other than the truth is a waste of time. I don't believe any of the news, to be honest. That's my experience. It doesn't have to be yours, and it doesn't have to mean yours is any less than mine. Grabowski Lane. Oh, here's one I wrote. It got some action on the Facebook Chuck Norris jokes. Alcoholism is recovering from Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris's tears cure cancer. Too bad he has never cried. Good one. I almost think to get some action on this channel, I mean, I know there's action, and it's the right kind of action. People that seek the experience of other recovering alcoholics to add to their own and thus become stronger in their recovery. It's a podcast where I'm your gracious host and you are my guest. Our experience is a collective that is more powerful than our individual experience. But sometimes I think to get some views, to get some algorithm tickling, I should just mention like a comparison of CNN to Fox News. All of a sudden I'll go viral. Because so many people are talking about politics. And this, again, begs the question. How much of our world is based on opinion? And how much of our world is based on fact? What is fact? If you ask one of these guys in the comments whether he's, whatever side he's on, I wouldn't even be able to tell you what a Democrat or a Republican is. So please, don't get it twisted. I take no political stance. I do take an opinion on ridiculous human beings because I have experience with myself and ridiculous human beings. And I know a ridiculous human being when I see one. Hey, what's up, Noah? You're doing good today. Good. Good. Too bad he has never cried. Do you know any Chuck Norris jokes, Noah? Alcoholism is recovering from Chuck Norris. I wrote that one. It was me. My ego feels good about it. Let's read some more on whether, the facts. Here's the facts on alcoholism. For many people, the facts about alcoholism are not clear. What is alcoholism exactly? How does it differ from alcohol abuse? When should a person seek help for a problem related to his or her drinking? The National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, NIAAA, has prepared this booklet to help individuals and families answer these and other common questions about alcohol problems. The following information explains both alcoholism and alcohol abuse, the symptoms of each, when and where to seek help. And this is from Department of Mental Health, Los Angeles County. Oh, let me first read the Wikipedia definition of alcoholism. It's only one sentence. Best described as: alcoholism is the continued drinking of alcohol despite it causing problems. I've said before, addiction, and the definition of is continuing your compulsive behavior and obsessive behavior regardless of consequences. Basically, it's you get DUIs, you don't stop drinking. You get in bar fights, you don't stop drinking. You get dumped by your girl or your guy, you still don't stop drinking. You're always having black eyes, liver pains, kidney problems, you still don't stop drinking. You know what I mean? That's the, to me at least, that's the most prevalent definition of alcoholism, is the continued drinking of alcohol despite it causing problems. You know what I mean? Non-alcoholics don't really have problems from drinking alcohol. If they end up getting drunk and driving and get a DUI, they just say, well, I'm not going to drink anymore. Or, you know what? See, now me, the alcoholic, if I get a DUI from drinking and driving, I say, you know what? I'm not going to drive anymore. You know what I mean? Stop me if I'm wrong. All right. I don't, but I do have a funny joke about that guy who hates AA today. Oh, right on. He doesn't like AA because AA holds you against your will, but that's why the guy says that the program is bullshit and he thinks his own will is powerful to change. Right. He may feel that way like I have and like you have and like every alcoholic in the history of all alcoholics has felt. My will be done. That's essentially the problem. We put our faith in our will, not in the fact that the world doesn't revolve around us. This traffic jam was not designed and constructed to keep me from getting to my appointment on time. It's just a traffic jam on planet Earth. And I, being a player like everybody else in this play of life, have to accept it and deal with it. So, like I said, he is stuck in his will. In my opinion, that will get him drunk. In my experience, that will get him drunk. Now, experience, what's the difference between your experience and your opinion? Penn and Teller's take on AA, right on. And I haven't gone to in person, but Jonas said that nobody listens to him, and is that true? Well, you're listening to him, aren't you? What do you mean? No one listens? Who's Jonah? Is he the guy that is still stuck on his own will and claiming it's more powerful to change? I know that to not be a fact. That is false. I know it. I've had a spiritual awakening. I am now free of my own will. Not all the time. I'm not Superman. I'm Sober Man. I'm Sober James. And Sober James knows that my will, my opinions are trouble. My decisions and my actions there, if I base them on my decisions and my opinions, tend to be trouble. What I want is irrelevant. This may be said for all human beings, not just alcoholics and addicts. So nobody listens to you in an AA room? False. Now, there was a guy, I went to a favor meeting. In AA, there's something, we discourage crosstalk, and we try to let everyone who wants to share, so we discourage double dipping. Although people do it, it's not that often, and it's not blatant. I went to a favor meeting, and I'm not bashing it, and I'm not saying it's wrong or anything, but there was an alcoholic in the favor meeting who basically hijacked the meeting. He would interrupt other sharers. He would share after everyone is sharing. After every single person shared, he had something to say. So he talked like basically the whole meeting. And I listened to him. In the spiritual awakening side of recovery, you learn how to respect others, and you know that some are sicker than others. Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly people get it. I don't look at this person as an imbecile. I don't call those kinds of names anymore. Those are my opinions and judgments, and they're trivial. My opinions and judgments had me doing all kinds of things, like driving drunk, unprotected sex. You know what I'm saying? Bar fights, those were what my opinions and my judgments got me into. You know what I mean? He thinks no one listens to him. That's his opinion. It's not a fact. We know it's not a fact simply because you can repeat exactly what he said, which means you were listening to him. But I know through immense experience that there's no way that no one will listen to a guy, even though they're going on, and they're obviously still in their own will, and they still haven't gotten the solution. They're talking about the problem. They're talking about their problems and how the world isn't molding to them. And they're talking about everything that I used to talk about when I was still sick as an alcoholic. And every alcoholic in there can relate. to what that person is saying because they've been there. And you know what they say in an AA meeting after somebody goes on and on about their personal problems and doesn't talk about the solution and isn't willing to do the steps, and they talk way too much and they double dip and they interrupt and crosstalk? They just say, "Thanks, so-and-so, keep coming back." So it's love and tolerance in AA. I know that to be a fact. Jonah, who hates AA, meaning he doesn't go to AA. So do you know this about him, Noah? Has he mentioned the meetings he's gone to? Angry guy who thinks programs are bullshit and that it doesn't help anyone. It clearly helped you and thousands more. Well, give me his channel. I'm going to get up on his channel. I have ADHD, Sweezy, and for me it manifests like this. For a year I won't touch my guitar, and then the next year I won't put it down. And that basically, that's a way to tell you I have ADHD without telling you I have ADHD. It's a spectrum. There's a lot of different types: hyperfocus, non-focus, distracted, scatterbrained, skimbly bims. You know, these are all medical terms. Well, you can look at one simple fact, Noah. I go to AA meetings every day. I've been going for 7 months, and for the past 2.5 decades, I've gone to them sporadically, sometimes every day. 90 meetings in 90 days, I've done that a couple times. That means I've been to hundreds. I'm going to estimate hundreds and not thousands or not millions of meetings. I've been to, realistically, over 100 different rooms in the past 2.5 decades. How many rooms has that guy been in? Yeah, Sweezy, you know what I mean? ADHD's a bitch. Well, let me talk about opinions and facts first and stay on topic. Wrestle my ADHD, and discipline and perseverance are two principles of AA, my new code, the 12 principles of AA. Doth I need to read them again? They are my wallpaper on my phone paper. The 12 principles now are my code, go like this: honesty, hope, faith, courage, integrity, willingness, humility, love, discipline, perseverance, spirituality, and service. Yeah, I don't make, I want to make, current video, long form videos. In order to get my channel, if I want to have the side gig, you guys help a lot. All my members on here, Mike Tucker, Sweezy, all of you who have clicked the join button and chosen a tier and paid next to nothing a month to help support me, I appreciate it. I have 31 members now. 31 times 3, but then there's taxes and a YouTube fee. But anyway, it's helping. But in order to fully pursue the YouTube dream, you have to work hard, especially with today's AI giants and today's content giants. Streaming is not very lucrative unless you're a gamer or some kind of other. The recovery streamer, you know what I mean? I'm doing well, I think. I no longer have a desire to be wealthy financially. Fear of economic insecurity has left me. Every day I'm grateful. I have a beautiful truck. I have shelter. I have 2 dogs, and at least they eat. I'm trying to feed them better and better. But I got to pay for their nail Dremels today and actually bathe them. And that turned out to be, I think, $70 total. But you guys are helping with this. Most of all, you guys are helping me get to AA meetings by joining and paying a monthly membership. I got the $3 tier, the $6 tier, and the $9 tier. check it out by joining clicking the join button. But you guys are helping me get to meetings. I fill up my gas tank once a week, and it's usually about 60 to 70 bucks. And I don't drive anywhere but AA meetings, and now on Saturdays and Sundays I drive to work. I also put $1 in the basket when I'm at a meeting. And this is you guys. You guys are helping me maintain sobriety. And this is why I'll go to the ends of the earth, or at least, I don't know about the ends of the earth, because we all know the earth is flat. Let's see. The earth was round until Chuck Norris did something. I'm still trying to figure out some Chuck Norris jokes that will scare up some comments and action on the old Facebook there. But I've went from, you guys who've been around a little bit know that I've had this perverse obsession for the past month or so of tearing people up in the comments of social media. Like, I used to do it on the comments of my own channel here. If you look at my aged comments like a year or two ago, I'll just answer some of these naysayers and some of these trolls with "your mom." Your mom goes to college. Or if he says, James, you didn't even go to college, which I have, I'll say, your mom goes to college. Hey, Holly, yes, I do. I know it for a fact that I do. You want to know how? Because there's evidence, recorded evidence. If you go to yesterday's stream, you will find a point where I say, hello, Holly. If you go to the day before, you'll see that as well. Maddie Rush, what up? Hello, Miss Holly Ford. You have your own name. You know what I'm saying? You're the only moderator. James, you don't even acknowledge me. You're the only person with a wrench. You're one of the only people I talk to personally off of the channel. And you literally never say hi to me. That is an opinion, and it is factually false. I can prove it with evidence and immense experience on camera, where, first of all, literally doesn't apply here and never doesn't apply here. So what you just said is false. That's not an opinion. What you said is false. How do I talk off the live? Well, you can email me, but I do have an Instagram. So go to my channel page and you will see a bunch of links in the channel banner. Instagram link. Go to Instagram and private message me. I talked to Daniel. I talked to Holly Ford. I talked to John Venturini. I've talked to multiple people that would like to connect with me in private, with my privates. I know, Miss Ford. And have you gotten back on your medication yet? It's pretty much a fact through immense experience that you get all sensitive when you're off your medication. Actually, I have to be careful when I say that. That I said way too confidently, and I don't have enough evidence to verify that that is a fact. But we can say it's a fact, Holly, that you are negatively affected when you forget to take your medication. I understand, Noah. JV won't be here tonight. We were talking earlier. Right on. He sent me a song about my bedbugs experience in Fort Lauderdale, and it was hilarious and awesome. Do you know what I mean, man? Alcoholism is the continued drinking of alcohol despite it causing problems. Some definitions require evidence of dependence and withdrawal. Problematic use of alcohol has been mentioned in the earliest historical records. The World Health Organization, WHO, estimated there were 283 million people with alcohol use disorders worldwide as of 2016. The term alcoholism was first coined in 1852, but alcoholism and alcoholic are sometimes considered stigmatizing and to discourage seeking treatment, so diagnostic terms such as alcohol use disorder or alcohol dependence are often used instead in a clinical context because people have become snowflakes and can't even handle words. I'm just kidding, it didn't say that. That is my opinion. You'll hear a lot from hither forward on this channel of me classifying what I am saying, whether it's an opinion or a fact. I find it very important to pay attention to the things you hear and the things you say. The things I say and the things I hear, I find very important to determine whether they're facts. And you can whittle almost anything down to an opinion or hearsay. You can whittle it down. Get this. If I say that car is red, that's not a fact. If I say I see that car as red, that's a fact. Colors don't exist outside of the human perception. How's that for a mind blower? Colors aren't a fact. Your perception of them is. And you'll get everybody saying, that's not red. That's wine color. You know what I mean? Richard Bachman, aka Stephen King, every beer on planet Earth has my name on it. Alcoholic. Every beer on planet Earth has my name on it. Huh. You know who else can say that? That some beers have his name on? Samuel Adams. Alcohol is addictive. The heavy long-term alcohol use results in many negative health and social consequences. It can damage all the organ systems, but especially affects the brain, heart, liver, pancreas, and immune system. Just a few. Heavy alcohol usage can result in trouble sleeping, severe cognitive issues like dementia, brain damage, or Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. Physical effects include irregular heartbeat, an impaired immune response, liver cirrhosis, increased cancer risk, severe withdrawal symptoms. So, there is factual evidence to diagnose a person with alcoholism as a fact. But I have heard people in AA say, and it might be something that's said, it might be a fact of AA, that only the individual can diagnose themselves as an alcoholic. This comes through honesty, an honest inventory. Miss Holly Ford hates the color orange. Do I message on TikTok? I'm also on TikTok. For some reason, Instagram won't allow me to go to your page. Vid? Yeah, I just posted a short on both of those, Instagram and TikTok. I will maybe message you if I see you. I just don't check TikTok very often, or Instagram. I try to stay away from both, for there is factual evidence that social platforms like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok are bad for a lot of things. Attention span, mood, depression, anxiety, production, motivation. Also worldview, cynicism. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a fact proven by immense experience and evidence that social media platform, let me just base it on my experience. For months now, I have been finding myself in the comment sections of issues I'm not even fully involved in, like politics, and just tearing people up left and right, asking simple questions like, how do you know? And I'm switching my gears. Instead of deleting the apps, I'm using discipline and perseverance to attain it. Two of the principles that I now live by. Aren't you proud of me? Is my point of why I'm telling you this. I want you to be proud of me and tell me I'm an impressive human being and say, James, I've never witnessed another person that is so amazing, such as you. I'm just kidding. I am determined with perseverance and discipline to avoid feeding my ego as well. Instead of sharing at a meeting, to talk articulately and intelligently to impress all others, which it's amazing how much I unwillingly did this, unknowingly just acted on impressing other people and shit. The promises state you will no longer do that. You will think less of yourself and think more of your fellows. Now, before I share, if I get nervous about sharing and it can shut you up, thinking about yourself and your ego will shut you up if you get all nervous about how you're going to sound. What am I going to say? Am I going to say something? Am I going to sound as intelligent as that person? Am I going to say the right things? That's your ego talking. If you shut that MFer down and you say to yourself, I'm going to share, and when I share, I'm going to share for the benefit of others. All of a sudden, you're talking on a higher spiritual plane, and your self-consciousness, aka your fear of people, has left you. Another promise of the big book. So, on that note, I try not to share my opinions, although a lot of sharing is, and I'm starting to realize that a lot of sharing in meetings in AA and other groups of recovery is, my experience is this, and then the next person will say, my experience is this, and then on and on until you have a collection of experiences for that hour, thus being more powerful than the individual experience. So, people will come up to you after the meeting and say, I really got something from that. Like I shared in the meeting on sloth, and this guy was talking about how he felt guilty because he was sleeping in. I shared what I've learned recently. We are human beings, not human doings. And the guy came up to me after and said, I really appreciate that. I'm going to remember that. That really helped. Thank you. And that in turn helped me. And that's a fact. Have you ever heard us described as human doings in anywhere? No, human beings. Sharing opinions is fine. Forcing your own opinions on others is not. Good point, Sweezy. I'm currently in the phase of my life and recovery of questioning how the value of opinions, and that is very true. Others want you to share your opinions, and I no doubt do, whether intentionally or not, on this channel and in meetings. However, I'm in a phase post my awakening, my spiritual awakening as a result of the 12 steps. I am sharing more for other people. This channel is no longer aimed at becoming a big YouTuber and making a living off of it. It is aimed at helping. I get a paycheck now, a spiritual paycheck, a spiritual enlightenment from the fact that I am helping. I'm doing esteemable things, and I am paid with self-esteem. My self-esteem is growing. My confidence that I am a good person and worthy of things is growing. This is something we don't have as an active alcoholic, and it's one of the reasons we drink instead. Miss Ford says the which word is cringe? Oh, tickle? What about a moist tickle? Let's see. Sweezy. Why orange? Oh, you don't like orange. Permanent damage, Mike Tucker? Yeah, well, I used to say this, and this is just a joke. A joke is essentially based on opinion. My joke was this. The umbilical cord was wrapped around my neck 3 times when I was born. My dad said I was as blue as that big book. Blue. Then I went on to have 7 concussions, alcoholism and drug abuse, a coma. But my joke is, when I came out, the doctor said, well, he was a genius. But, now he's just of average intelligence. Moist. Aaron Water, hey, welcome. What bugs me about alcoholic is that it creates a false divide between this addiction and any other, which feeds directly into the policy. Word. I identify as an addict, mostly an alcoholic, because I take my advice from Alcoholics Anonymous solely because it has proven to me through immense experience that my opinions and my will don't work as well as following a higher power such as Alcoholics Anonymous. They say, introduce yourself as James, an alcoholic. So I do. Now, if I go to a favor meeting or any other meeting or on this channel, sometimes I'll identify as an alcoholic if it will help alcoholics on the channel, or I'm talking about a specifically alcoholic topic, but mostly an addict. Alcohol is a drug, and it's not just a drug. It is the most dangerous drug on earth. A fact, by statistical measure, it kills more people than all other drugs combined per year. And you can fact check that easily by looking it up. That means heroin, opiates, fentanyl, nicotine, codeine. Psychedelics don't really kill anybody, so we just leave those out. Pot doesn't kill anybody, so we'll just leave that out. All the drugs combined don't kill as many people per year as alcohol does. That is a fact. Somebody fact check it. Somebody prove me wrong, because I would love to know if I just keep saying that and it's wrong. But it's not. I checked. But it bothers me, Aaron. I introduce myself at other meetings as an addict, a gratefully recovering addict of all things that feel good. If it can be drank, snorted, shot up, slammed, huffed, had sex with, watched, shopped, gambled, I am an addict of it. Actually, gambling, I've never really gotten the bug, but I can tell my addict the tendencies get triggered when I'm at the blackjack table. I can say I can definitely see how people can have trouble with this, because, hey, have you ever won some money at a table or a slot machine? You are instantly just irrational. You're like, well, maybe I'll just go cash my other paycheck. But yeah, I say I'm an addict. I'm a drug addict, which means I'm an alcoholic. But there is explanation for, like there is for all questions related to alcoholism, in the Big Book of AA as of why alcoholics are a separate entity. There's just reasons. Like, number one, I can walk to a liquor store right now. It would take a little bit of doing to find an illegal substance such as heroin. Another reason is there's commercials for alcohol. Another reason, stuff like that. I have played slots. Yeah, I've played slots. Have I shot up heroin? No. Only Dilaudid, which is synthetic heroin, and that was in the hospital. But man, was I addicted. I was so addicted that even if I was asleep and the 4-hour mark had come when my dose was ready, my body would wake me up and I'd be like, all right, I'm ready for my dose of Dilaudid. I'm probably lucky, fortunate, or God was doing for me what I couldn't do for myself, because I know beyond a reasonable doubt that I would love heroin, especially shot into the veins. I've talked about it before, but it's still kind of a mystery of why I wasn't a heroin addict. Now, my sister just died, my little sister, Leanne. I just posted a video of where she calls into the stream. If you look up Sober James' sister live stream, you can find it, where she calls into the stream. She's now dead from heroin overdose. God rest her. I personally have always been good with starting with alcohol, and then if a heroin needle came out, which this is why I say God was doing for me what I could not do for myself, because it never crossed my path in the almost 30 years that I was drinking and using. It never crossed my path, a heroin needle or a kit or a heroin session. But I'm because I would do anything and everything. If you ask me, alcohol is the gateway drug. Well, if you ask pretty much anybody, alcohol is the gateway drug. Tell me you don't just do anything from drugs to crime to, risky sex when you've had a little alcohol in your system. 300 million planet-wide alcohol kills. My email is thesoberjames@gmail.com. All one word, thesoberjames@gmail.com. Good evening, Smitty. Happy Independence Day to you as well. I celebrate my independence from the bondage of alcoholism. Smitty, yes, we are a silly society. I'm seeing it more and more every day. I bought my first scratchy ticket and glad I lost recently, Smitty said. Yeah, I can definitely see the obsession and compulsion part of addiction kicking in. Thank you, Miss Ford. There's my email. Miss Ford has been gracious enough to put it up there. Noah said, I know I'd be a heroin addict if I lived opioids and fentanyl. That's why I don't try it. There's a lot of stuff that's unattractive about heroin that I didn't like. I'm still waiting on God to let me know why I never became a heroin addict and died. Because like I said, I know I'd love it. I loved Dilaudid. When Dilaudid hit my veins in the hospital, I said, God willing, I never run into this on the street. That's another thing that saved me, my ADHD. In order to start up heroin, unless it comes by my path, like I tried meth. This past relapse on alcohol, I tried smoking meth rock. Snorting it, smoking it. I tried both because it crossed my path. I pretty much knew I wasn't going to like it, and I didn't. I'm more of a downer person. But I might as well try it. So I tried meth. You know what I mean? I'm a curious boy by nature. But having ADHD, if I were to say I want some meth right now, there takes a lot of steps to get it. You know, I got to call some people, and then I got to either drive or make a risky situation with a drug dealer and all that. And my ADHD brain is just like, nah, forget it. I'll just go to the liquor store. That's probably one of the reasons that saved me from heroin, from fentanyl. I've had opioids before. You know what I mean? In fact, I had a prescription when I got out of the hospital from my car accident for fentanyl patch. A fellow drug using colleague of mine was like, bro, you got fentanyl prescriptions here. But I could barely walk. I'd just been in a life-defying accident. And it takes, I didn't want to go to the store to get, you know what I mean? I was just like, whatever. Dilaudid is 2 times the potency of heroin, and experienced users cannot distinguish them in the clinical trials, Aaron said. There's no magic to heroin, and it's not illegal everywhere. I loved Dilaudid, loved it. I had the worst pain I ever had in my gut. It turned out to be a hematoma, which means they clipped a capillary in my abdominal area and blood started seeping into my muscle cavities. Worst pain I've ever experienced in my life to this day. I said, doctor, cut it out of me. He goes, no, I give you something. And I'm like, bro, I'm already on fentanyl, morphine, whatever else you're giving me. Just cut it out of me. I don't care. He's like, no, I give you something. About 10 minutes later, a nurse came in with a needle, hit me up with Dilaudid. Not only did the worst pain in my life disappear, but I was higher and more relaxed and more euphoric than I've ever been. And I immediately asked her what this is, and she said Dilaudid. And then I kept forgetting what it was. But man, was it dreamy. But God does for us what we cannot do for ourselves. At birth, put simply, I'll just illustrate it like this. The God of my understanding, which I can't tell you a description of, just all powerful or whatever. God was like, hey, this one has ADHD. That was 43 years ago. Turns out that ADHD, attention deficit disorder, took me through life with just enough resistance against my motivation to get heroin to where I never sought it out. Even though I tell you right now, I love heroin. If it crossed my path, it would have happened, but that was God doing for me what I could not do for myself. And here I am carrying the message to you all about recovery. You know what I mean? God does for us what we cannot do for ourselves. Meth was very enjoyable to me. Had the worst come down. Yeah, Holly, you and I have talked about how you like uppers, I like downers. This is a whole different topic about addiction. I personally believe it has to do with our chemical makeup and our environmental makeup, aka our childhood or the trauma we have experienced or not experienced. Put simply, I have ADHD with hyperactivity. Adderall to me settles me down. And I don't know if it does it for you guys, but Percocets makes me a chatty Cathy. I'm hype as a, hype man for a rap show. I used to talk my mom's ear off. She loved it. Caffeine, you know what I'm saying? Doesn't really, it make, you know what I mean? So, good for you, Aaron. And if you're if you like what you see, hit the thumbs up and share it with somebody you love. If you don't like what you see, hit the thumbs down and share it with somebody you hate. But also consider joining. I have to repeat that. It's a sales technique. Never forget to sell your product. I have a membership on this channel for a monthly fee of as little as $3 a month. Helps me keep my internet on, and it also comes with perks. And you also get a James Brown, like you just got a Jack Nicholson. An illustration of drugs of choice is, I can't have alcohol in my house. Not to say my spirituality right now is not kicking it on 12 cylinders, and that I could go without it if it was in my refrigerator. But my higher power, which literally is AA, spiritually it is God, literally AA says there will come a time where the alcoholic has no mental defense against the first drink. So, our addiction being a multifaceted problem, the solution has to be multifaceted too, meaning it has many faces. One of those faces is, I don't allow alcohol in my house. Sure, I'm spiritually fit right now. I'm going to AA meetings, but my higher power, the experience of 89 years of millions of alcoholics like Bill Wilson and Dr. Bob, tells me that the alcoholic will experience a point in time where they have no mental defense against the first drink. That's where a power of God comes in. That's where calling your sponsor comes in. That's where going to a meeting comes in. That's where practicing the principles comes in. Put another way, and this is another way it's put in the book, there will come a moment where the only thing between the alcoholic and the first drink is God. And if God's not there, guess what? You're drinking, baby. Adderall and alcohol go together nicely. What did we talk about yesterday? Try not to trigger anybody on this addiction recovery channel. Like I said, I'm spiritually fit. I'm this, that, or the other thing. I just came from an AA meeting, but the thumbnail for this stream has a bottle of alcohol on it. For a split second, I got thirsty. You know what I'm saying? That's the alcohol disease. That's the addiction disease. It's cunning, baffling, and powerful, and it's patient. It is patient. It'll wait for that gap in your spirituality, and it'll jump on you. To personify it, Oxy is a real working man's opioid. Not as much CNS depression for me as others, especially morphine-type opioids, Dilaudid, etc. And Andreas Newitz. Do I pronounce that right? Andreas? Well, thanks y'all for sharing. I hope it helps. I know, but you said it goes together nicely, meaning, I might just be like, maybe it'll go together nicely right now. Noah says, I was going into the school restroom snorting 2 capsules of Adderall up my nose, and I won't lie, the day felt like a school field trip. Yeah. Well, sobriety and recovery feels like a life field trip. Just take it from me if you don't want to take it from anybody else. That's what she said. Aaron says, sorry, we're hijacking the chat like my brain is hijacked. It's all good. This is essentially a podcast where you are my guest and I am your gracious host. The promises also in AA said you will think more of your fellows and not so much of yourself. This is coming true for me. It takes practice. But I appreciate listening to others now. I appreciate not always talking about myself. I. Do you think there can be recovery without complete abstinence? What I think? No. Not for the addict and alcoholic. This is from immense personal experience that coincides with the more immense experience of the book, of Narcotics Anonymous or Alcoholics Anonymous. Well, that fixes everything, Miss Ford. Don't beat yourself up or slip into morbid reflection or self-pity, or it will get in the way of your usefulness to your fellows. Well, James and everybody else, keep doing the damn thing, and I'm going to go shower up. Right on, Noah. I'm glad you had a good day. Just for today, as they say in NA, or one day at a time, as they say in AA. Good for you. For me, Noah, without AA, there always came a time where I was defenseless against the first drug or drink of drugs, which is alcohol. Well, I didn't say abstinent forever, but was kind of hoping I could be in the club anyway. Which club? The abstinence club? Yes. There is a weird paradox in AA. They seem to say one day at a time, but there's always an unspoken fact that the alcoholic cannot drink for the rest of your life. Alcoholism is uncurable. If there was a cure for it in the form of a pill, I would break 5 of them up and snort them. Yeah, Miss Ford, will you chill? Don't go anywhere. You know what? You know when I'll hate on you is if you go somewhere. Yes, the popular opinion for addiction is complete abstinence as a beginning of a treatment. A spiritual solution is the treatment for the mental obsession. To treat the physical allergy, alcoholism, and we're going to say addiction, is a mental obsession coupled with a physical allergy to the substance that creates a phenomenon of craving. It's in the book, in the doctor's opinion. Dr. William D. Silkworth explains it. It's a mental obsession coupled with a physical allergy. We're obsessed about it. We're obsessed about going to get it. We finally do get it. When we do, we cannot stop. There's no off switch. Phenomenon of craving. The recovery club of being an addict. I think if I went to a meeting and tell them about my life, they would just say my moderation just means I'm not a real addict. You know what they said to me? Well, I've always known it's got to be abstinence, but I'm not everybody. Not everybody knows. Not everybody feels that way. Favor, Faces and Voices of Recovery, they breed something in the beginning that says, if you are intoxicated on a drug or alcohol right now, you are still welcome. We just ask that you don't share. Because we don't want your drunk ass talking. Is basically they do welcome you, and they will say, yeah, I've been there, keep coming back. And it's principles before personalities. If you don't, read the book, download Everything AA app. You can read all the literature for free. The book explains everything. The program is the book. The program isn't the people. The people are not the program. The meetings are not the program. It's part of the program. It provides fellowship, support, relation, something to do, and shared experience, and a conduit for learning. But it's not the program. The program is in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, which hasn't changed since 1935. That's 89 years. The 12 steps is the program. What I would suggest, Aaron, is that you read. Is your drug of choice alcohol or one of the other ones that would fall into Narcotics Anonymous? You don't have to tell me, but I know drug addicts that go to Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm one of them. My drug of choice was always started with alcohol, but it's all the same stuff. The 12 steps only mention the word alcohol or drug in the first half of the first step. After that, it's all life, and after that, it's coherent and conducive. It's consistent across all the other 12-step programs. It's all the same spiritual principles. But yes, abstinence is one of them. It's in the first step. I am powerless over my drug of choice, and my life has become unmanageable. This is the step you have to do first. I'm powerless over it. That means you can't do just a little. I knew this to be a fact when I tried it over and 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 over again, with failure every time. Even pot, even weed, even cannabis, I have a mental obsession about. which means I will smoke it from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep. And I did. So, my answer about abstinence. I am powerless over alcohol. That is a very simple sentence, but if you take it literally, it means you don't drink. You are powerless. You cannot do it in moderation. If you don't believe me, look at your past, your history, and I don't want to say keep doing it, but as an addict and alcoholic, I kept doing it, and I kept proving to myself that doing the same thing and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. I did different. I would say, you know what? I'm going to drink. I'm going to do it differently. But I was doing the same thing. I was drinking alcohol. I am powerless over alcohol. There is no control. A phenomenon of craving occurs. It can be referred to as an allergy. It has been referred to as an allergy that produces a phenomenon of craving where there is no off switch and consequences follow. You are powerless. You don't control yourself. AKA, I may have another relapse in me, but I may not have another recovery in me. That's a roll of the dice. I may have another relapse, meaning I could go drink right now, but after that drink, it's a roll of the dice. I may come back to the living, or I may die, or I may go to prison, or I may become a paraplegic. I am powerless. So, to answer your question from the wisdom of the ages, as an addict or alcoholic, you are powerless over your drug of choice. That means don't put it in your body. So abstinence, I believe, is the only way. And the damn near a century-old institution of Alcoholics Anonymous believes that as well. But you're not going to be ostracized. You're an alcoholic just like the 2 million other Alcoholics Anonymous AAers on planet Earth. Everyone understands. There's going to be the world is peppered with assholes, idiots, jerks, mean people that are still struggling with their alcoholism, their bondage of self. So they're gonna, you'll run into an occasional, asshole. But it's principles before personalities. You remember why you're there and you stick to the principles. Is what I did, and it has worked. So when talking about the factual definition of addiction and alcoholism, instead of using my words, I'll just repeat. Alcoholism is the continued drinking of alcohol despite its causing problems. There's also words like dependence, problematic use of alcohol. The development of alcoholism is attributed to both environment and genetics equally. And for all us addicts that have a drug of choice other than alcohol, it's very simply the same exact thing. You could say the development of drug addiction is attributed to both environment and genetics equally. The use of alcohol to self-medicate stress or anxiety can turn into alcoholism. Someone with a parent or sibling with an alcohol use disorder is 3 to 4 times more likely to develop an alcohol use disorder themselves. So if there is evidence and experience to suggest alcoholism, you most likely are an alcoholic. Or as I like to say, non-alcoholics don't really sit around and wonder if they're alcoholics. So there's another supporting factor. If you're worried that you're an alcoholic, constantly worried, then chances are you might be. Matthew Perry spoke of the mental allergy on his 2013 BBC appearance, and Peter Hitchens for once looked like the authoritative one. So, my answer is no. If you have the mental obsession coupled with the physical allergy for alcohol or other drugs, you are powerless over them, and abstinence is the first step in recovery. Full recovery comes from learning how to live without it. The mental obsession doesn't disappear just because you know you have a mental obsession. It doesn't disappear just because you know some things about alcoholism. It disappears when you work the suggested program. In my experience, it disappears. You recover from the disease when you work the 12 steps of AA, NA, CA, SA, NA, Nicotine's Anonymous, MA, Marijuana's Anonymous. The steps work even with pot obsession. And it did for me. I was smoking pot. Now I'm not. No, I didn't say I was an addict. No, I'm not. Because alcoholism isn't alcoholism. There is no cure. There is only a daily reprieve as a treatment. Alcoholism is patient, cunning, baffling, and powerful, and it will wait for you to get back unhealthy, meaning back into your own mind, back seeking for selfish motives, self-deprecating, egomaniacal, and closer and closer you get, the more the disease works on you, and the closer and closer you get, boom, before you know it, you're drunk or high again. I know this from immense experience, coupled with the experience of the Big Book. Speaking of facts and opinions, Aaron, if you did go into a room in Alcoholics Anonymous and someone said, not all of them will, because a collective conscience, a group conscience, is not a single personality, and it is more likely that the principles will be represented as a group, but individuals are more sicker than others. Say someone did say, you're not sober, and they started demeaning you, and you're not on a program, this, that, and the other thing. What is that? Is that a fact or an opinion? And guess what I've learned? My opinions get me drunk. Acknowledgement of facts get me to recover. Get me to stay sober. AA promised that my fear of people will leave me. I never believed it. I said, man, I'm going to be nervous around people my entire life. Not only has it happened, but I've been delivered explanations for it. One of which is opinions are trivial and like dust in the wind. My opinions ain't shit. Your opinions ain't shit. So why am I putting so much faith in the opinions of others and just sweating when I'm around them? Well, I don't anymore. Because it's been delivered to me the knowledge that opinions are, guess who else has opinions? 4-year-olds. 4-year-olds will sit there and talk like they know what they're talking about. You can't tell them otherwise. 5-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 6 years old. You know what? Those opinions, we both know that that's not right. And that's how people walk around. So whoever tells you What did Jack Nicholson just say? Check it out. Not everyone will support your recovery, but not everyone matters. So if you do go into a meeting, which in my opinion is where, in my experience, it's where every addict and alcoholic should belong. Instead of drinking, I go to AA meetings. There's opinions out there that say, well, you're trading one addiction for another. Sure, I don't care. One addiction kills me, if not turns me yellow, melts my liver, and gets rid of all my family and friends and money and shelter and cars. The other addiction, if that's what you like to call going to AA, if that's your opinion, brings my sex life back, brings my health back, brings the color of my skin back, brings my sanity back, actually start growing again. So not only does it bring stuff back, it brings new and opinions into my now open mind that I'm willing to accept because I'm honest. So if some jamoke says AA is just another replacing one addiction for the other, just be like, I know. Or that's just your opinion, man. You know who else has opinions? 4-year-olds. Cited in the big book explaining the disease, the doctor's opinion. Literally, the chapter is called The Doctor's Opinion. So, when there's facts, they will tell you they're facts. When there's opinions, they will tell you the opinions. The doctor's opinion is just a letter. You want me to read the doctor's opinion? The reason it's an opinion. It's in the doctor's experience. He has formulated an opinion. You know what I'm saying? He's the one that came up with the allergy theory. He's the one that came up with the, you take opinions for what they're worth. You know, this physician that's worked with hundreds of alcoholics in the very beginning of the revolution of Alcoholics Anonymous, I'm pretty much going to take his opinion, and think about it, consider it. Now, if some jamoke in the Facebook comment feed is like, AA is a cult, and we both know AA has no leaders, it doesn't take your money, power, or sex, or does anything else similar to a cult. Another example is cults. They don't last. How long did the Manson cult last? What? I don't know. 4 years, 5 years? The Jim Jones thing? What is that all about? I don't know how long that lasts, but it wasn't long. AA's been around for 89 years. Anyway, when somebody states an opinion like that, facts just shatter it. When the doctor represents something, his opinion correlates with my experience, and therefore I take it as a fact. He's a doctor that's worked with tons of alcoholics, and he's describing exactly what I have personally experienced, and we don't know each other. My man's dead. He wrote that I don't know how many decades ago. But yeah, I was asking myself that when they were reading what I was reading earlier, and the very next sentence after I was thinking it, somebody was reading it out loud. The very next sentence they read was, proven by immense experience, this is now a fact of AA life. And I'm like, oh, he's right. They're right. Reality is for people who can't handle drugs. For real. Or people think when they stop drinking, all their problems will be solved. False. When you stop drinking, that's when you have to face your problems. And don't get all scared and puss out, because facing problems is life. Facing problems is growth. And the growth I'm experiencing sometimes can be scary and nerve-wracking, sometimes can be painful. But the benefits far outweigh the detriment. Only users lose drugs. Only losers use drugs. Only users lose drugs. Yeah, I'm obsessed with the opinions. Fact, dichotomy right now, Aaron. So I was questioning that same question. How many opinions are in this book? And as soon as I was done, and this could be said to be a God thing, a God-like spiritual experience, my ADHD had me questioning how many of these are facts and how many of these opinions. The very next sentence out of the person reading the book was, proven through immense experience, this is now a fact of AA life. And I'm like, God? You know what I mean? My answer to that, opinions, it is a collective opinions of decades, millions of alcoholics. Therefore, I accept it as a fact. When it correlates with my own personal experience and produces a solution, I'm like, that's a fact. You know what I mean? The big book you can read right now in 5 minutes by downloading the Everything AA app. You can also buy it anywhere, online for $10. Or if you go to an AA meeting and say, my name's Aaron, and I have a desire to stop drinking, but I can't afford a big book, they'll give you one. What are you sorry for, Miss Ford? It's all in your head, girl. Whatever it is, it's all in your head. Because I don't know one reason is I don't know what you're talking about. Which is essentially the problem of addiction and alcoholism. We're in our heads. We're not in reality. Yeah, Everything AA app, you can read the 12 and 12. You can read the big book. You can read it all. I sent Miss Ford a big book. I sent Miss Ford a big book when she asked for one. There's actually a funny outcome to that story, but I'll let her share it if she wants. And that's the nature of being with other addicts and alcoholics. We understand trifling behaviors. I have gone in and out of the rooms of AA, the same room, my home group I've been for 13 years, going in and out of that room. And they had a chair for me and welcomed me every time, even though I thought I could smoke weed and still not drink. I'd see people, nodding heads like, all right, keep coming back. Stay until the miracle happens. And it did. My spiritual awakening has been delivered through perseverance on my part, given to me. I could probably say that that's God too. Another day living in this situation, never very good, Michael said. Well, it's often said that it's not the situation that bothers us, but our perception of it. AKA, the reality is the situation. Pain is inevitable. Misery is optional. But I do know what you're talking about, Michael. I got bad days too. My sponsor reminds me that I can always start my day over at any time. By accepting what has happened that day, by accepting I'm in a shitty mood, and just hanging in there. This too shall pass, Michael. Another day of a bad day and shitty situation, this too shall pass. Even a good day and even a good week, this too shall pass too. That's how I know it's true when I'm having a bad day or week or a month or even a year. This too shall pass. I know that to be true because I've had good days, weeks, months, and years, and those pass too. So it's not discriminatory and it's not an empty promise. Your good days will pass, your bad days will pass. It's our perception and how we handle it is the key to recovery and sobriety. And that takes practice, bro. Don't get frustrated. I'm still practicing. I know these things, but still have trouble practicing them sometimes. Don't get frustrated. Just try to do the next right thing and practice. And don't leave until the miracle happens. Don't stop practicing until the miracle happens, because let me tell you, that spiritual awakening is better than all drugs and all highs combined. And that is my word. Hey, there's another one. Miss Ford says, you've made it through 100% of your worst days. So how's today even any different? I like to tell people when they ask me how I'm doing and I'm not really having a good day, I like to say, well, I've been better and I've been worse. Because I have no doubt it'll take a really bad day to top some of the days I've had. So I like to say I've been better, I've been worse. This too shall pass. Trust in God. Do the next right thing. These are all practices. They don't come natural to us. I think I'm going to make it. I was coming off a mega shroom dose one time, and I said, I think we made it. I think we made it. And I was talking to my dogs. This too shall pass, Michael. Keep practicing the solution. Practice staying out of the problem. That AKA in your head. Practice opting for freedom and not misery. Pain is inevitable, meaning it's going to happen in life. Pain. Misery, on the other hand, is optional. With practice, misery will be nowhere near your day-to-day mood. I know this from experience. A little at this point, but it's growing. And this is what's called spiritual fitness. And this is what fills in those mental blank spots when you have no mental defense against that first drink or drug. Your spiritual fitness fills in that blank spot. Something we didn't have in active addiction. It's a new thing, a paradigm shift, a spiritual awakening that we are practicing the principles of recovery in all of our affairs. Don't leave, don't stop practicing until the miracle happens. Time takes time. It takes every drunk to get sober. Every time you get drunk, you're closer and closer to your recovery. Every drunk you meet is going to help you with, not drunk, but every recovering drunk you meet will help you with the recovery. Well, I think I'm going to make it too. And Aaron, thanks for joining us tonight. It's good to have you, and good to have you subscribing. If you got value from this stream, hit a thumbs up and send it to somebody you love. And think about clicking on that join button to help me pay for gas to get to AA meetings and keep doing this damn thing. I stream every weeknight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm concentrating these days on what is fact and what is opinion and what separates them both. I have now learned that my opinions get me drunk and facts get me sober. So that's something to think about. But until tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, keep it clean, keep it real, keep doing the damn thing as long as it's in line with God's will. Peace.